Saints Row so far was a video I made a little while ago. I kinda just grouped together my thoughts on the game at that point, with marketing being the way it is, and just decided in one short video how I felt about Saints Row. Well, that was 3 months ago, and I think it's time that I redo that video with a current update on everything that's been out, because a lot has changed in 3 months. I mean, I'm pretty sure at the point of that video there wasn't even a delay, so obviously time frame has changed. So there's going to be a lot to talk about, and I want to just kind of group together my entire thoughts on the game so far and put it into a video for you all to watch. So let's get into it. So one thing that has changed in those past 3 months is the amount of gameplay we've seen. We've seen a lot more, and I think it's now at a point where I can kind of make a decision on how I feel about it. So overall it looks pretty good. I think I'm quite happy with the gameplay, and I think it looks fun, which is important. There's a couple things that kind of put me off, stuff mainly sci-fi orientated, which I know will be a bit weird to hear for some of you because you guys don't mind sci-fi in Saints Row, but I'm just not a huge fan of it personally. Not the biggest problem though, because it's all optional, so it's not a big deal, but it's something I definitely notice when playing it, and as long as there's an option for me so I don't have to go down a sci-fi route, not a problem at all really. I like options, and having options for every kind of player is a good thing. The gameplay looks quite fluid. The AI was a little worrying, but I imagine that with this delay, that's what they're going to spend a bit of time on, making that look a bit more polished, so it's not too big of a problem. But yeah, the AI was a big concern for me, but now it's fixed. Driving looks great. From the way it all looks, it looks nice and fluid with new mechanics to play around with, so I look forward to that. Shooting looks good. The SMG needs to be buffed, but I thought about this. The SMG has been bad in like every Saints Row, especially 3 and 4. Unless you upgraded it, it was kind of useless, you know what I mean? So I'm not too worried about that. But the balance doesn't look too bad. The pistols seem to do a decent amount of damage, the shotguns seem to do damage. The enemies look fun and unique to fight against. VTOLs are coming back, which is something I was actually quite happy to see. I know some people disagree, but I like VTOLs, so having them back in the game is great. Yeah, the cars look good. Customization looks okay from what we've seen, which we'll get into a little bit later. But overall, the game looks fun, and I think that that's quite important, obviously. But for me, I'm happy with the gameplay I've seen so far. So one thing we've also gotten a ton more information on, and an actual look at, is the map. The map looks phenomenal. I think this will be one of the strongest points of the new Saints Row. And I think that if you're not really on board with the whole story aspect of the new Saints Row, if you don't like the characters or something, for example, you should at least get it for the gameplay and map. So I think it looks very strong. I think that having, I think they said 11 districts to explore is going to be a blast. Obviously, diversity in the map is key. We don't want a map like Steelport, and I don't think this map even looks close to as bland as Steelport. I think it's on par, and who knows when it comes out, maybe even better than Stillwater, but that is still to be determined, and obviously we can't find that out until we have our hands on the game. But overall, it looks really good. The graphics on the map, not that graphics really matter, don't look too bad. There's a bit of pop-in, but not too big of a deal for me. I think that we can hopefully see that solved by the time the reboot's actually out. But overall, the layout looks nice. From what we've seen, the districts look kind of vibrant. The map looks really vibrant, actually. But they all look really unique. They all seem to have points of interest. So overall, I'm pretty happy. It looks really nice, and I'm very much looking forward to just exploring a brand new map in a Saints Row game, because I think we've been stuck on Steelport for so long, and we've all played Stillwater to death, you know what I mean? So let's just hope that this new map is phenomenal, which it does look like it will be, and yeah, I can't wait for it to come out. Now, I don't really want to talk about customization for too long, as quite honestly, we haven't seen a great deal, but what we have seen looks interesting. We've seen some animated clothing, which is a first for Saints Row, and I know a lot of people saw that and cried internally, but quite honestly, people complain there is not enough options in the newer Saints Rows, so whether you like an option or not, be hyped that there's the option for it. And I personally like it. I think it's going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to playing around with some animated clothing. It reminds me of Watch Dogs a little bit. I know that that's going to trigger a bunch of people, but I remember Legion has some animated clothing, and it looks really good, so I've got no complaints. I can't wait to see it, you know what I mean? We also have animated skin. I don't know who at Volition made this idea, but I'm on board for it. It sounds fun as hell. But customization does look pretty in-depth, but I do think we need to see more, but we're probably going to see some in the upcoming weeks. But so far, customization looks great. Having different like skin tones that are animated is going to be really fun to mess around with, and I think it's going to let you create a character to whatever extent you want. Having animated clothing is going to be really cool, and I think we'll get a lot of cool designs there. And since layered clothing is coming back, it just makes it even better, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm definitely a huge fan of the customization so far. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here, really, and that is the characters. I think that this is the thing most people are worried for, and I share your concerns, but I want to just speak on them a little bit here. While I was a little nervous for the characters, and still am, I do not hate them as much as I did when I initially saw them, and they have somewhat grown me as characters. Kevin, I'm fine with. Nina, I'm fine with. The boss is our own character, so anyone who's not fine with the boss is an idiot. But the main problem for me is Eli. I think that, I know I've said this to death here, but he just doesn't fit in with Saints Row. And I know that Saints Row's never really had one defining characteristic here, but I don't think he even fits in with the other cast of characters. Like, he's just really, like, mismatched for me in this game, and I hope we see a bit of character evolution that kind of sorts that out. But Eli is the most worrying one for me, and who knows, when we get the game it may be better. But besides Eli being pretty bad, the rest of the characters I've come to quite like. I actually quite like Kevin's whole style, and I think he's going to be pretty funny. From what I've seen from the Game Informer, he was like a bit of a party goer, so hopefully he's a bit like Pierce and Zemos combined, but less annoying. That'd be great. Nina's going to be cool. Nina seems like the loyal character that everyone's going to like, kind of a bit of like Lynn and Kenzie mixed together, maybe. And then, see, this is where I get worried about Eli. Like, I don't know what Eli really brings to the table. Like, he's kind of like a mix of Dex and Kenzie, and I don't really know if I like that, I'll be honest. But besides Eli being my least favourite character in the world, I think the characters look okay, and I don't think the game's, like, over before it's out. I don't think it's, like, dead on arrival. I just think that I'm not looking forward to playing with Eli, personally. But besides that, not a problem. The characters look okay, and I'm looking forward to the story with a bit of optimism. I'm a bit skeptical about some things, but I'm still fully optimistic, you know? One thing I do want to mention briefly is I love collectibles and collector's editions for games, and this reboot is very disappointing to me, quite honestly. The Notorious Edition is cool, but it's very underwhelming, you know? How do you go from, like, $1 million pack that takes you to space in real life to box set with postcards in, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a downgrade, and it's not even as cool as Saints Row the Thirds, which is like, you got the headset one, and then you got the Astros, and then you got the Heydays. It just feels a bit underwhelming, and I wonder if, like, budget had something to do with that. But I've heard that they are going to be making some new collectibles at some point, from rumours around both Reddit and Discord and stuff, but I've got to say, so far, I'm a little bit underwhelmed, and I hope we can see some new collectibles coming soon. Okay, and this is going to be the final point of the video, but it's going to be quite a longish one, so I want to kind of just get through it here. The tone of the game. We have been told countless times that it's going to be in between 2 and 3, and I can partially see that. A lot of people at the moment are feeling it's between 3 and 4. I want to kind of just explain how I feel about that, because I think it's both, personally. From what I've seen, and we have seen very little, so take this with a huge pinch of salt here, the story does look to be between 2 and 3, because think about 3's story. It was kind of just like Saints Row 2 on crack, you know what I mean? And then, obviously, Saints Row 2 was really serious. But this looks like it's going to go for a semi-serious tone story-wise, with really weird and fun gameplay mechanics. From what I've seen, though, the boss seems to always be quite serious in what we're doing, you know what I mean? I'm yet to see the boss kind of be wacky story-wise, kind of like we had in Saints Row the Third, how we had like those crazy wacky missions. I'm yet to see it. The boss looks to be a quite serious tone when talking about it, like, I think there was a cutscene where the boss is like, we are really good at what we do, and it looks like they're having like a serious moment. Then the other part we saw was them like robbing, like doing a petty heist, right? That was quite a serious moment too. Then we've also seen a part of it where the 4 lieutenants of the Saints are standing at the top of a balcony, rallying up some other Saints. That was pretty Saints Row 2 in itself. So I think we've seen a lot of Saints Row 2 when it comes to the story and tone, but only the tone of the story. And I think we haven't seen enough of the story to really get a fix on that. But for me, I've seen a lot of Saints Row 2 in the story, is what I'm trying to say here. And then I think the Saints Row 3 comes from most of the gameplay. But I think we're also seeing a bit of Saints Row 4 in the gameplay as well. We've seen a lot of sci-fi stuff, and I kind of can get why people now at this point think, oh, it's between 3 and 4. But I will just say we're yet to see any customization really, which I've heard is going to be really good, kind of like Saints Row 1 and 2's. And we're yet to see much of the story, which again will probably be a tone somewhere between 2 and 3. I think it's just the gameplay that's going to be really fun and give you like wacky options for sci-fi. So I imagine that's why a lot of people are thinking the tone's going to be between 3 and 4. So I'm hoping when we see the actual story of the game and we get the kind of plot, it turns out to be a bit more grounded, and we finally get a look at like the serious side of this reboot. And I do think that we're going to get something like that pretty shortly. I would struggle to see us not getting something like that, because quite honestly, people are a bit confused at the moment of whether this game's going to be like completely serious, completely wacky, somewhere in between, and honestly I can kind of see it. But I think that from the very small snippets of the story we've seen, and I do mean small, so again, huge pinch of salt here, from the very small snippets of the story we've seen, it seems to be taking a bit of a more serious tone story-wise, and then gameplay-wise sticking with the 3's like craziness factor, you know what I mean? I think that's a good thing, but I will need to really see a bit more story before I can make like an official judgment on that. But to me, it looks good, and I think that hopefully when the game comes out and the story comes out, we should be all good to have a blast of it. So yeah, that's all I really got to say on the tone. Thank you all for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. I want to quickly just thank channel members, the Annoying Midget, DeadSec HQ, and Stupid Town for supporting the channel more than everyone else, because they gave me money to spend on energy drinks. I'm not even joking. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It took me a little while to put it together. I wanted to put a bit more effort into this one, so to speak, and kind of put some more editing on it and stuff like that. So whether you've noticed or not, it doesn't really matter, let's be honest. But yeah, that's why I've kind of been gone. I've got to kind of slow down with uploads for a while though, because obviously I'm back in college and I need to kind of focus on my college work, since YouTube isn't my job, believe it or not. So, yeah, uploads may be slow for a little while, but I'm going to do my best to make them as good as possible when they do come out and spend a bit more time on them to make up for that. So, yeah, thank you all for watching, guys. I love you, and I'll catch you in the next video, guys. See ya.